Time now for the Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
I want to say something first as a Christian. As loathsome as I believe the Biden administration was and is in many ways, as much destruction, chaos, lies, and as much as we, as the American taxpayer, were victimized by the Biden administration, as a human being, I am called to pray for everyone, our leaders, our former leaders. God is going to render his ultimate judgment on all of us. And so I have to be really careful here in not getting emotional about how angry I am at Joe Biden's legacy and the people around him in the shadows who are actually running this country, and not let that anger swallow my humanity for a guy who is frankly sad and old and broken down and now apparently ailing with cancer. And I say now ailing with cancer, even though by all indications the kind of cancer that he has been diagnosed with is something that he's had for some time. Because prostate cancer is not something that just creeps up and bites you. Prostate cancer is something that quite a few men will battle. I mean, it's something like, 13 out of 100 men, every 100 men, 13 get prostate cancer. And I have a couple of men in my family who have had prostate cancer. They lived well into their late 80s. In fact, you will often hear men who are diagnosed with prostate cancer early enough. It's generally speaking, this is a cancer that comes along in men's mature age, older age. And with regular screenings, you get these PSA tests. And by the way, we all should go get that annual physical, get that PSA test. And if they discover that you have early prostate cancer diagnosis, generally it is treatable. And for much older men like his age, most doctors will tell you, here's the thing they'll tell you. Frankly, you're going to die before the prostate cancer gets you. It's a on the whole, on balance, prostate cancer is fairly slow and not as aggressive as other cancers. Now, I'm not a doctor, so please don't hold me to every specific syllable of what I'm saying here. I'm talking general. I'm sure there are outstanding cases out there that I don't know about that are different, but that's on balance what I understand is, at least that's been the case in my own family. Okay. Having said that, this form of prostate cancer that Joe Biden has is very, very aggressive and has now metastasized into his bones. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what's true about this, and there's just no getting around it, and I've not heard from one or read from one doctor that has said otherwise. That means this guy has been carrying around prostate cancer for years. And Fast Eddie, if we're doing the math on that, that means the man had cancer while he was president of the United States. There is no way around it. True or false? You see it any other way?
Where I currently sit, no, of course not. It's almost undeniable.
Yeah, it's impossible to believe that he didn't have cancer. You don't get this stage of prostate cancer settled into the bone and not. And by the way, don't tell me we just found out about it. That would mean that he has not had a regular PSA test at 80. 79, 80, 81, the President of the United States. First things first, I would like the White House physician that gives him his annual physical called to Capitol Hill to testify right now. I want that guy to testify under oath right now. He's already lied about his cognitive decline. Now there's been apparently, and I have no other choice but to see it this way, a total cover-up in the man's cancer diagnosis. And it's apparently pretty aggressive. Now, there's a lot to say about this, and there's the humanity of it. And the humanity of it is this man should not have been serving as president of the United States from the jump. I don't actually believe he won the presidency legitimately in 2020. And I think most of us feel that way. I think even people that sat back and saw him hiding behind the mask with the stupid car horn rally, that was all fabricated. Everything about Joe Biden was a put on. He was never a legitimately elected president. I just don't believe that's the case, and I have reasons to believe that beyond voting machines, by the way. I believe the Constitution was violated. He was never a legitimately elected president. He never ran anything while he was president. And while he was president, he was clearly very ill, and people closest to him kept that from you and me. It is a scandal bigger than any presidential scandal maybe in history, certainly in our lifetimes, certainly bigger than Watergate. Van Jones said it this way over on CNN. Give me 2078, if you would, please, Paulie. 2078.
First, this book is extraordinary. I don't care who you are, left, right, or otherwise. Anybody who cares about this country and about just the dynamics of power, this is the emperor's new clothes playing itself out in real time. Everybody knew, but everyone was afraid to say, except for David Axelrod for 2 years, that something was wrong here. And so, I was shocked. I love Joe Biden. I don't like him. I love him. I got a chance to work with him when I was a part of the Obama administration and loved him more every day. I was shocked to see his condition when he came out, and so was the world. And that wasn't the first time he was in that condition. The book makes it very, very clear. There are people who knew and said nothing. And that is a crime against this republic. And I think the Democrats are going to pay for a long time for being a part of what is now being revealed to be a massive cover-up.
The Democrats are going to pay for a long time, says Democrat Van Jones, for hiding Joe Biden's cognitive decline. So that's last week. Remember, we talked about Jake Tapper's stupid book. We all saw this. I mean, March, for heaven's sakes. You can go back and find posts I made on X in March of the first year. This pretend president was pretending to be president, and I told you the guy's not running anything. He ought to be booted right now. Okay, anyway, so on Friday, out comes the Joe Biden-Robert Hur interview. And I don't have time to play all this. It's extraordinary. It's about 5 minutes what was released that's really getting a lot of traction out there. I don't know. Let's try to ride with some of it. I'm going to have to bail out of it. But 2082 here, Paulie, if you would, please. 2082.
So during this time, we were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer finger shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. I'm not a mean thing to say, but he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I might run for office again. If I ran again, I'd run for president.
This thing, this just goes on and on. He wanders around. He wanders around so badly that Mr. Hur ultimately says, "Should we take a break?" It's as a human being, it made me just violently uncomfortable and sad. As an American, it alarmed me that this was the guy that we were pretending was running the country. Again, back to a human perspective, the fact that this man had a wife that was propping this ailing man up the way she was, that this family, these Democrats, surrounded him the way they were and kept him propped up in ill health, cognitive decline, and clearly a cancer diagnosis. The grift, this family, these people, the Bidens, maybe. I used to think there couldn't be less moral character than there was in the Clintons until we met the Bidens. I used to call these people hillbillies, both of them. They're both hillbillies. They're trailer trash politicos is what they are. They really are the worst kinds because they're not even sophisticated. They're not dignified. They're thieves. Money is all that matters to them, and they will do anything to hold on to power and do anything to cash a check, including prop up their cognitively disabled, cancer-ridden elder statesman of the family.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel. Stay informed anytime, anywhere with the Salem News Channel at 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This has been The Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
It's Chris Stigall, and you're watching The Answer Now TV.